G'day everyone, it's SDS SuperCoach, providing SuperCoach content for you. I'm here to present a bit of a different type of video. Now, I've seen a lot of SuperCoaches doing team previews and all that, and I think, I was thinking of doing it, but, you've got Shorty doing it, you've got Centre Bounce doing it, you've got SuperCoach with DR doing it, and I just thought I'd try something new. I'm gonna spend 1 minute on each AFL club, except Hawthorn. I'm going to save all my content for the video I'm doing with SuperCoach at DR. So, look, I'm going to give this a go. This is the last video of the year. So, yeah, look, what else do I need to talk? Oh, yeah, make sure you like the video as well. I want to get to 300 subs before round one, before the first bounce of Richmond Carlton. So, if you guys could do that, that'd be fantastic. So, that's all you need from me. This is going to be a longish video. So, 17 clubs in 17 minutes. I did 18 clubs in 18 minutes in my title because I think that just sounds better as a title. So sorry if I don't talk about Hawthorn, but you'll see my video with DR eventually. So here we go. Let's get underway. Now I'm going to start the timer. I've got the stopwatch here on my app, ready to go. All right. The Western Bulldogs. Now the Dogs are interesting. So you've got Marcus Bontempelli, of course, who I think can be a real game changer for your side if you decide to go with him. He can deliver a really good score, a really bad score as well, though, but he's a real point of difference in your side. With Josh Dunkley out of the side now, he will be interesting. You got Josh Bruce, who's rumoured to play down back. Obviously, he's the Dogs have got a lot of key forwards, key defenders and all that, and they're just looking to mismatch all that. So he'll be interesting. Toby McLean went under surgery for his hand, but I think he should be all right. So he's a real interesting option. Bailey Dale, I don't mind the sound of him, but we'll see if Ed Richards affects him a bit. And Tim English, I think, for me, he's definitely starting as my ruck early days, but I think the Dogs, hopefully as the sole ruck, I mean, they've got a lot of forward options. So you'd think that Tim English stays as the number one ruck. All right, West Coast. Now, West Coast, I'm not sure how I'm going to talk about a minute about them, but you got Dom Sheed as a mid-priced option in the midfield. I think he should be spending a bit more time with a full healthy preseason, playing a bit more in the midfield. And look, I think you got Elliot Yeo as well. By the way, I'm doing this off the top of my head. I've got no plans or anything. Elliot Yeo, if he can stay healthy as well, it's a lot of case with a lot of these West Coast players. If they can stay healthy, they should be able to be some interesting options for us. Who else? Tim Kelly. I don't know what. It was just off the top of my head. No, I wasn't meant to change. I'm still talking about West Coast for 20 seconds here. Ruben Ginbey, he's a bit raw, so it'll be interesting to see if he gets implemented into the side, maybe off the halfback particularly, or maybe they give him more time in the midfield. You've also got Elijah Hewitt, who I think is more ready-made than Ginbey, and he should be playing round one, maybe more off the half forward and midfield. All right, Sydney. Now, Sydney, I think, this is what happens when you don't plan. You're trying to think off the top of your head. But Jake Lloyd, I wouldn't go near him, wouldn't go anywhere near him. So I think he's just about cooked. You've got Nick Blakey ruining him as well. A comment from one of my videos was Chad Warner. I think Chad Warner's in your Tom Green, Tom Mitchell, Luke Davies-Uniacke if you're looking for a fourth premium in the midfield. And I think if he can, I think he's really cementing himself as an option. But, can you take that massive gamble, in the Tom Green, Davies-Uniacke? They haven't done it for that long in that sort of form, so they'll be interesting. You got Callum Mills, who's one of the more expensive midfielders. I think he's a solid option, but I don't think he'll be very popular. Errol Goulden, we'll see if he gets more mid-time. Is there a Sydney rookie? I'm trying to think. Aaron Francis, I think, could be getting a bit more game time. All right, St Kilda. Rowan Marshall's the main one here, but you've also got a couple of others. But Rowan Marshall, if he can play as that full-time ruck, I think he is a very good option. But we'll have to see what the whole setup is with Max King out of the side, certainly for it looks to be maybe the first 4 to 6 weeks of the AFL season. Got Jack Steele, who's at a ridiculous good price at a 604K or something like that. He's certainly capable of doing much better than his 108 average. And I think he should be a very solid option for your side. And I think he's almost just about a must to be your M2, M3, something like that. Who else? You got Brad Hill's going to be playing more on a wing next year. which opens up Jack Sinclair as the most expensive defender. I think we'll be seeing him play a similar role, but I've also seen talks of him being in the midfield. We'll see if Mateus Philippou can get a game round one. I think there's a couple of opportunities there. Marcus Windhager could get a go as well. Richmond's Tim Taranto won the 2K time trial, so I think he's a really solid option for your forward line. And then Jacob Hopper at 322K is certainly a solid option as well. He's going to be very popular. Well, those two in particular are going to be very popular. Richmond aren't really a possession-heavy side, so I think it's going to be very interesting to see, because I've got both of them in my side at the minute, but I just don't know if I want to start both of them. Maybe one or the other, but they're still a long way, and we'll see how preseason goes. But they're showing good signs. Jaden Short looks like he's going to move back to defence. Toby Nankervis isn't the worst of options in the ruck. Who else? Dan Rioli, I think, can cement himself more as a halfback for everyone around the AFL and SuperCoach spectrum to know about. Oh God, I'm struggling. Dusty Martin's cooked, I think. I don't think he should be a forward line option. Port Adelaide. Now, Port Adelaide, you've got Connor Rosie, who's bulked up and is certainly looking to be more of a midfielder. It looks like he certainly did a tremendous job when he was a midfielder. If you picked him up during the year, I think that was a fantastic job. Zach Butters is an interesting forward line option. I think he's like the 7th or 8th, maybe 6th most expensive forward option. But I just think with his health, his injury, his injuries are just really aren't helping him all in all. And I'm just not sure if he's fully a great option. I feel like I need to talk more about rookies, but Port have none. Dan Houston, we'll see if he can. He's just a bit inconsistent, isn't he? So we'll just have to see with Port there. Scott Lycett is a mid-priced ruck. Can we trust him? I highly doubt it. So I'd probably stay a bit clear from him. Jason Horne-Francis, we'll see if he comes, how he is after his surgery. And look, I can't really think of anyone else off the top of my head. Let's go to the Kangaroos now. The Kangaroos are very interesting. Darcy Tucker is going to be out for... Well, he's not out, but it seems like he's currently injured, so we just have to monitor that. It doesn't seem like he's going to be an option for us to start the year, maybe during the year. Then you've got Luke Davies-Uniacke, of course. I think Luke Davies-Uniacke is a real breakout option for North. You would think he has to start in that midfield each and every week. He's probably their main priority, is starting that midfield. Oh, God, who else? Ben Cunnington is a 419K forward. I think they needed more of an experienced head in that North Melbourne midfield, and I just think Ben Cunnington's a really solid option there. So I don't think you can go very wrong with him. Any other premiums? Oh yeah, Taron Thomas, not a premium, but looks like he's playing more off the halfback. He's getting on really well with Clarko, and I think he'll be a very solid option. Sorry if I'm talking really quickly, but have to get through this. Melbourne, got Oliver, you got Petrarca, you got all the stars there. So I think Oliver, he's currently got having thumb surgery at the minute, so we'll just have to see if he recovers pretty well from that. If there's any red flags after that, I might start Rory Laird ahead of him, but we'll get to Adelaide. Christian Petrarca, similar to Bontempelli, he can be a massive game changer for your starting team. If you go with that, he can deliver some massive scores, but he can also hurt you with like those 80, 90 scores that you're paying 618K for. You certainly don't want those type of scores in your side. Jacob Van Rooyen, I don't think... Will he play round one? There's rumours, but I'm not sure how good of a scorer he's actually going to be. Cosy Pickett might spend a bit more time in the midfield next season, but we don't know how much. And then Angus Brayshaw, I think, is a very solid option down back. If you're not trusting Hayden Young, Nick Dacos, then I think Angus Brayshaw is your man. All right, the GWS Giants, they're certainly an interesting side. They're not a particularly popular SuperCoach sort of team because, their injury records and all that, don't really match up, but it's okay. Now I need to get to a player. Tom Green, I do expect the Giants to have a massive year next year. I think Tom Green is going to be a real breakout candidate for the Giants. I think he could have an Andy Brayshaw type season. I'm interested to see how they use Toby Bedford. I don't think we should be considering him, but I'm just very curious to see how that goes. Will Harry Perryman play full-time mid? Lockie Whitfield, I'm very interested to see how they use him. He's no longer a defender, so I think, that's a few less headaches in that back line. Sam Taylor, not sure how relevant he is, but he could take his game to another level. Stephen Cornelio, will he keep spending more time in the midfield? He looked very good there, and Josh Kelly's certainly interesting, but frustrating one. The Gold Coast Suns, Toke Miller's looking absolutely ripped, raring to go, and I think he's going to be a very good option for us. But at 667k or something like that, can we really justify Toke Miller as an option? He's sort of at an awkward price. You're looking at Oliver and Laird, but then you've got Toke Miller, Lockie Neal, that sort of region. So, and he normally starts the seasons off pretty slow. Can Sam Flanders improve? I think he can. We're hearing a bit of hype about him. Can Rao finally take that next step? Can Noah Anderson turn into an option? So there's certainly a few options there for the Suns. Jared Witts is the second most expensive ruck in the game. So we're going to have to see. He definitely dropped off in the latter end of 2022, but we're certainly going to have a look and see with a fully fit pre-season. He's no spring chicken anymore, but he was coming off an ACL and delivered some ripping scores. For the Geelong Cats, can Jack Bowes play in that midfield round one and a consistent role, let alone play? So it's a bit of an interesting question for Chris Scott. Can he can we fully trust him? I highly doubt it. I'm not too sure if we can fully trust him, but we're just going to have to see for Jack Bowes. My guess would be potentially, but we're just going to have to see how he tracks in the preseason. A lot of the players are coming back. Mid-January would be my guess. Tom Stewart, he delivers some ripping scores. It seems like a thing where, for me, he delivers some ripping scores for me. But as soon as I have him, he definitely delivers some average scores. But he's certainly not the worst option in the world for the Cats. That midfield mix is going to be very interesting. Can Jai Clark play a bit at some point? You'd think it does seem like he's fully raring to go, but can he actually get into that side? That's going to be interesting to see. The Fremantle Dockers, they've certainly changed over their list a bit. I forgot to talk about Gordon Grundy for Melbourne. My bad, but too bad. Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson now a ruck pairing, but we'll have to see how that goes. I think my guess would be Darcy's the number one ruck, and then you've got Luke Jackson filling that void sort of in the forward line, can be that next kick when the opposition have it to take a mark down back. I've seen that happen a bit with Melbourne. Can Josh Corbett make a name for himself? I think Josh Corbett is at a good price, and I think Freo are missing a bit of a hole in that forward line, and especially with Matthew Taberner being a bit injury prone with those hammies. Who else? Hayden Young. He's looking really good in pre-season. Can we trust him to have a full breakout year? It's a very risky price, so we're going to have to see. And Tom Emmett's one to look out for. Essendon now with Brad Scott at the helm. We're going to have to see how that goes. I think we are going to see Darcy Parish take his game to another level, along with Zach Merritt. I think it's just good extra motivation. Seemed like they didn't have last year. Can Ben Hobbs take a bigger role? It looks like Jake Stringer's not looking any good in pre-season. Sam Draper, is he ready to take that next step? He was comparing himself to Max Gawn and wants to be at that level of Max Gawn. Can we finally see it? It feels like we've been waiting a couple of years. We know the talent's there, but can we fully see it? The Davey brothers, I highly expect, won't play probably at all next season would be my guess. Maybe more Alwyn than Jaden, but we'll have to see there. Who else for Essendon? Can Mason Redmond be the full seagull that he usually was in the back end of last season? Will Scott keep that? Can Jordan Ridley take another step? Last year was a bit mediocre, but we're going to have to see there. Collingwood, Tom Mitchell's now in that midfield. Collingwood are pretty similar to Richmond. Can Tom Mitchell get enough of the pill? Because Collingwood are certainly more of that, like Richmond, where they're not really that possessive with the ball. But if Mitchell can dig under and feed the outlet to De Goey, to Crisp, to Dacos, to Pendlebury, to all those sort of outlet options, then he's certainly going to get a lot of hands on the pill. Can he get a lot of kicks? That's going to be interesting. Darcy Cameron, will he be the full-time ruck? I would expect him to be. I think McStay replaces Cox and he's the full-time ruck there. Nick Dacos as well. it's only his second season, but we can see how outstanding a player he is. But can we really trust a second-year player to be picking in our sides round one to be a full premium for the whole season? I'm not too sure. Joe Richards as well is a rookie for the Pies that we've got to have to keep an eye on in our forward line. There's a fly right near me, and Charlie Dean could fill in that void down back. Carlton, Sam Walsh is out for a little bit of time, so he's certainly not an option we should consider. Can Paddy Cripps just be more consistent? I mean, we can't argue too much with how Cripps went last year. He won at Brownlow, but can he be more consistent in that middle patch there? It was just really frustrating for owners. George Hewitt is currently dealing with a back, I think it's back soreness as well, so not really one to keep in mind. I don't find Carlton that Supercoach relevant. Guess we're going to have to see if Adam Sard can be a top 8 option. I think he was actually last season, but with Zach Williams back fully fit, all sorts of options. Sam Dockey, can he not bounce back? Can he certainly be sorry, I'm really struggling now. Can Sam Dockey be a premium again? Because he certainly delivered some really good consistency scores for owners last season, but can he back that up? All right, Brisbane. So you got Josh Dunkley, who's just been recruited to the Lions, and I think he will be a very, very important help along with Hugh McCluggage, Lockie Neal, all that. Lockie Neal, is he a bit too expensive? I think he sort of is at the age of nearly 30 now. He could be 30 right now. So I think we saw in 2021 how he was riddled with injuries. I do have a little bit of concern with him being consistent. Josh Dunkley, if you don't have him in your side round one, unless he gets injured or whatever, I'm not sure if I could take your side seriously. I think if you're taking it seriously, I think you've got to have Josh Dunkley in your side. Will Oscar McInerney play a bit more full-time ruck and less Darcy Thorpe being in the side? Daniel Rich is looking really good. Same with Dane Zorko. Can the older boys wind back the clock a bit? Oh, there's one more bloke I'm forgetting. Will Ashcroft, definitely start him. And lastly, Adelaide. So Rory Laird is the most expensive player in the game and in the midfield, of course. So he is certainly, we saw him last year, was so consistent. I can't recall a player that consistent week in, week out. You knew what we were going to get from him each week. It was just the dream vice captain, you name it, for the season. Can Sam Berry play full-time mid? I'm sure he can. Who are some other midfielders? Who are some other players for Adelaide? who's there? I know Max Michaelani. I think Max Michaelani is not a friendly Supercoach option, but he could be an early choice down back. I think Billy Dowling is a player that's intriguing a lot of Adelaide fans. Same with Zach Taylor. Performed pretty well in the Sandful last year, apparently. Tariq Newchurch, I'm not even sure if he's still on the list anymore, but you're going to have to see there. And then I'll go over a little bit for Adelaide. Jordan Dawson, I think, is the most safe premium option down back. So I think he is perfectly fine. We are done. 17 minutes and 10 seconds of me just purely talking about each side. I was struggling a bit towards the end, so do apologise if some of the sides analysis wasn't that good. But bit of a different video. This is the last video of the year. If we can hit 300 subs before round one, that'd be fantastic. And I really appreciate all the support, all the comments. I'm getting comments nearly every day at this point. It's been fantastic. You'll probably see this video tomorrow. And so tomorrow being Thursday. So look, thank you guys for all the support this year. We're looking for hopefully a better 2023. You know, I'm always looking to take my content and my support, my content to the next level. And I appreciate all the support. It's been fantastic. Loving the subs, loving the comments, loving the likes. It's been brilliant. And my second year of doing Supercoach on YouTube, I hope will be a big success. So thank you guys very much and enjoy. And hopefully it's going to be a great 2023 for you. And I hope this year was fantastic. So cheers, guys. I'll see you next year. Cheers.